Hello everyone, this is Shiny Noctowl. Sorry about that, my computer crashed again, but don't worry, we're back. I wanted to share about the ancient Beringian, well, some of the connection with the Tlingit and their kind of connection with Polynesian island hoppers. Because notice how, I actually was looking at the image of this picture of what some of the some of the natives would have looked like all the way up here in Alaska at the time, and they actually look a lot like how some of the Tlingit look now. So you can see here this maternal haplogroup was B2, which would be is still strongly seen in Hawaii. So there's a Polynesian connection. Um, see, this was 12,000 years ago. Hawaii carried similar percentages of Siberian Native American ancestry, so it seems like um, even though the maternal lineage was connected to Hawaii, Polynesia, it would have eventually have mixed with other people, which makes sense. Let's see here, the Tlingit people whose name means people to tides have a vast history. Many speculate its origins dating as early as 11,000 years ago. Well, probably, well, even before if you include Shuka, which is man ahead of us, which would be connected to the Kawesqar. But maybe these were those who came after, which makes sense. Two major theories exist as to where the Tlingit people originate from, the largest being a coastal migration across the Bering Strait, landmass from North Asia. They probably came through the oceans like the Kawesqar did as well, like Jomon too. However, others believe that the Tlingit people may have migrated from Polynesia by island hopping. However, it's not disputed the Tlingit settled along southeast Alaska thousands of years ago. Um, I'll see if I can show you an image. Well, not an image, but like my dad, like I didn't get this directly, but my dad did, where this maternal lineage would be connected to Shuka, and because even though haplogroup B eventually did come later through, I guess through Alaska, this might have been getting close to the end of the ice age. There were another lineage my dad had. Way down. Look at Native American Montana. Reminds me a lot of the Jomo. See how D4h+3. Nice that they also have a photo. See here, Tlingit, Haida, Submission, it's all closely related. You can see Apache here, Navajo, Athabasque, Pima, Mesoamerican. Okay, so yeah, no, but I wanted to share that. See, I got a lot of different samples. Q1A. The Q1A is the ego energy. Yeah, so I do have some ego energy in me too. This was in Belize. A lot more recent, 7,000 years ago. And maternal haplogroup D, which is still East Asian. Um, I have to see, was this one you? Did they give you the paternal lineage? At least you got the maternal lineage at the very least. So this one I also got. I even got oldest South American native, which was this was actually in Chile as well. At least one of the oldest, 11,000 years ago. Okay, so he has eagle energy. Well, eagle Q1A2, C1b. Okay, so maternal haplogroup C, for those who don't know, is a Northeast Asian lineage. So I think I showed you the Tungzuk people. Tungzuk. So here are the Tungzuk people. Um, Here also the Amur people. Here are the Baikal people. Yakuts, Inviks. Maternal haplogroup C. You can see it's very prominent with Northeast Asians, or Siberians, Naganasans, which were eventually would be connected to the paternal lineage of the Finns as well. But I guess for a time also a little bit maternal lineage. Also some Uralic people, Dolgons, Yakuts, Inviks, Yakugars, and Karyaks. Yeah. Um, we even found with an Inca mummy in Peru, actually. Show you how they would have looked like, or how they still do look like, some of them. And I think this is out of the four, this is the smallest maternal lineage for the Japanese in particular, I think. They have it, but it's not as prominent as A, C, or D. I don't think I saw a lot of X really. Um, yeah, C. So you see C is very, very small. I've actually seen in Kyushu a little bit more than the others, but a little bit in Hokkaido, and but it's I think it's the smallest out of the four. But but it doesn't make it any less important though. It just means it just didn't become as prominent. Well, actually, now it was more prominent in the Ohatsu culture, and it makes sense because they say the the Ohatsu people who came to Japan during that time, which would have been um, uh, came to Japan 1500 years ago, so they um, they were related to Ninviks. I think here is it probably would have had some connection with Northeast Asians, I have to say, the groups. Yeah, so they did, yes, because they would have been connected to the Tungzuk. So yeah, typified by Ninviks. But they're all connected though. See, they're all connected. Um, okay, I'm trying to see how I can explain this. Yeah, so you can see how it became prominent in the Ohatsu culture, part of the Ainu Jomon, and during the Edo period, which would have been the Edo era, which would have been the old name for Tokyo. That would have been during the Tokugawa period, yes. Okay, so okay, now when I think about that haplogroup C influence, I can see why the Tokugawa period in Japan was very brutal in some circumstances, because I think that during that time, it probably wasn't even just the East Asian influence of the Kofun. I think it was also with the Yayoi, aside from the Kofun East Asian influence, I think they still had to heal some of that negative energy that they have caused, the Tokugawa period to be very bloody for a time. And I think it was really the Jomon that really helped find that balance, to help the Northeast Asians, to find that peace, to learn how to uh, be a warrior, not necessarily just harm others at will, but also to learn how to use that swordsmanship in a healing way. That reminds me a lot of like of Rurouni Kenshin, because actually a lot of the samurai were actually of Jomon and Jomon Ainu ancestry. They were not necessarily just yeah, what most people think of Yayoi or Kofun. That they were um, really the original people of Japan. But I think what made the samurai uh, was not necessarily just the Ainu Jomon or the Ohatsu culture, but really the original Jomon who eventually um, help things come full circle. Let's see. Um, yeah, so yeah. Oh yeah, and then I also want to show you that if you go back to the very beginning, the original one of the aside from haplogroup N9b, one of the main lineages of the Jomon was D4h+2 and also M7a. Um, Actually, oh, here's a sample from Nevada. This one was kind of interesting because it connected with I think this is also Condor energy as well. I have a mix of Eagle and Condor there. Um, it's talking about how the cranial features of the sphericated individuals showed similarities to the Norse and the Ainu Jomon people, which I mentioned before. Um, I think Bjorn said that. I'll see if I can leave a link to his channel. I'll link a video of remembering your roots. I think he felt a strong connection, particularly with some of the Northeast natives in the U.S. and Canada. So here it talks about how this was an intermediate position between the Athapaskans from Alaska and South American present-day populations. Um, oh yeah, And then here's the Jomon specific D4h+3. This is a Paleo-Indian woman of the Mayan Mountains. This was in Belize. This goes back to what I believe to be one of the original maternal native lineages. D4h+3 talks about this lineage is largely absent in North America, frequently found today in Central and South America. We've got one here. I got a lot of different samples. That's why I tell people I really just feel connected to. This is Eagle Energy, maternal haplogroup A2. So you see, yeah. So I wanted to share that with you guys because again, I think a lot of people get confused when I try to share with them, how I kind of view things because I think I don't know, they just I think they struggle with it a little bit, but I tried to help them. Tried to help them because I think it's important. Because I think sometimes people they can get a little bit confused, so we do what we can. So, yeah, I think for me, my closest, well, I showed you the image there. I think aside from the Jomon, which I mentioned before, the closest matches I also had were here's a sample of Iroquois, but here's Athabascan, Tlingit, Athabascan, Haida, Navajo. Show you some other matches I got. This is just like genetic distance, how close I am. And you can see some of the natives also were mixing with other people, like Hungarian conquerors, Saka people, which were really people from kind of Eastern Eurasian steppe, Andronova culture. See here, Eskimo, Inuits, Greenlander. This one's pretty cool. This one's actually Native American and Mayan, or indigenous people in North America. See there. This one is a mixture of. You see, all these different people were coming during the Middle Ages that because I think people may have thought that the natives were purely just always the same, but well, actually they weren't. But they themselves were mixing for the people. Saka, Avar, Hun, Hungarian conqueror. I think I even have a sample here. This is one of my closest samples from like Uruguay from like almost 2,000 years ago. And they were actually related to people related to Moors from North Africa and even Thurunchi people, which were actually related to a Germanic people from uh, Germania, like Germany and other areas. And here you get the closest tribes are the Lumbee, and I know Herman talks a lot about the Lumbee, and I told him about this that I know there's a feud between the Cherokee and the Lumbee that the Lumbee are not really native like the Cherokee, but the Lumbee actually are. And hopefully in time they'll resolve that. Here's the Mayuk natives from California, the Lutes. I told you about the Aleutian people. Mexican Colville, which is northeast Washington. Tatars, which is Siberia, Russia, Lithuanian. And then here you notice it matches with German, which technically German is European, so Hungarian, Macedonian. So there were technically people related to Europeans who came to the Americas even before the Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italians, even before they came, or before they were some of the first, or even I guess the Vikings, as well, the Norsemen, if you want to include them, going to Greenland and parts of Canada. Um, so yeah, I thought that was important to share because I think a lot of people don't realize that. Maybe this is why some of the Germans, feel a connection with the natives to an extent. I actually told my mom's boyfriend that I think the Lakota elder Wawita Aho Mooney actually looked a little bit like him. Even though uh, you know his skin tone's a little bit uh, darker, at least when it came to facial features, it reminded me a lot of him, and even just the way he spoke. I could see if they were both in the same room, I feel like they would get along well. At least I think so. So yeah. And actually, I think a lot of the Germans are really big into the Lakota culture too, which is pretty interesting. I'm sure, yeah. So, yeah, and it probably intersects with that as well. But yeah, I'll see if I can show more samples here. I'm gonna probably wrap up the stream here soon since I've been going for a little while. You can see a Mongol horde. Yeah, so you can see like that there were some Mongolians, maybe even this could be even connected to Y-DNA haplogroup C or more. Not necessarily descent of Genghis Khan, but there could have been that connection there that was going on during the Middle Ages. Um, there's Athapascan. A lot of people from the steppe were coming in during the Middle Ages. A lot of people. Hungarian conqueror, yep. This was actually one of my closest indigenous people North American matches, just purely that. This one, at least that's what it says. This one matches with Navajo, Apache, Haida, Tlingit, Submission, Kumia, Kuchimi, and Maya. Yeah, so you see how they were all mixing. Yeah, so this is also Kennewick Man from 8,300 years ago. Now this one did have haplogroup um, X2a. I don't know, did Kennewick Man also have haplogroup D4h? Let me see. Kennewick and maternal haplogroups. I'd have to see, is it more than just that? QM3. QM3 I think is Condor energy, I think it is. Condor, I think. Yeah, it is Condor. Yeah. And yeah, shows affinities with natives from Central and South American populations to this day. You can see how. Uh, right, but I think it even predates X2a. I think it goes back to D4H3 because that was that would have been one of the original lineages of the Jomon. But you can still see here the main people connected to Kennewick man at the time, who also would have been connected to the Condor energy, would have been Apache, Navajo, Maya, Kumeyaay, and Kumeyaay is a tribe. I think. Let's see. Yeah, you can see how they have good energy. I can just tell this the laughter and the kindness. Um, yeah, they live in Baja California. Haida. Yeah. So here, let me start seeing the mix between, and this also breaks the stereotype that the Mayans and Incas and Aztecs that they never lived in the U.S. Well, I think they at least know it with the Aztecs, but in Utah. But I think now they can see it better that they were all connected. There's the Mi'kmaq. It's here you see Pacific Northwest. There was a mixing going on with Athabascans and just people in North America. Mayan, all mixing. I showed you the Inuits. There's Siberia, Chukotka. Coming over. I got a lot of them actually. I was still closer to like indigenous people in North America, but Athabascans were not too far. Tlingit. See, they are connected to the Navajo and Apache, but the closest usually tends to be Tlingit, Athabascan. Sometimes, yeah. You got Algonquin people, Ontario, Maya, Apache, Mistec. I think even like with Chaco Canyon, there were actually some matches with all native Australians, I think, which was pretty interesting. Because like there are some natives who do get like Melanesian or Oceania ancestry. Actually, my dad had a little bit of that. That might be connected to people from Chaco Canyon a little bit. So you have Australian there. So yeah, I like to look at things from more of a broad perspective. I know my dad always uses the word big picture. So I always try to look at, okay, like you have all these tens of thousands of different tribes, and how do you put all the pieces together to the puzzle? That's how I look at it. Like makes me think of like the Millennium Puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like how do we piece it all together? How do we get the complete story? See? You can see in Puerto Rico. Now, the interesting thing about Puerto Rico is I think that some of the natives um, might have had some more, could have been Austronesian or, well, maybe more Melanesian ancestry potentially. The only reason why I think so is because, like the other natives here, it shows that they're fairly, I mean, they're not that distant, but they're a good distance from like even indigenous people in North America, Mayan, Aztec, Inca, which means that, oops, my bad, which means that they could have had Well, I mean, they could have had a connection with I mean, maybe it could have been more Austronesian, but maybe it could have also have been other ancestries too, like with the um, people from Uruguay, like the Rocha people. Because here you see Urza, Urzaya people. Let's see. Well, maybe what it could have been is that maybe somehow there were people from other people from Siberia who also migrated and mixed with the people of Puerto Rico, maybe. Could be another thing. Well, oh, maybe actually. Oh, okay. That might be it. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It might not be Polynesia actually. It might actually be for them. Um, I'd have to see who were the Urzia people. Mordovan. See here, Slovenian. That's really interesting that there's the European lineage. This was Puerto Rico, pre-European. Slovenian. Mordovan people. Scythian. Somehow they found a way to Puerto Rico. I guess they might have also been have connected to like the Udmurts and the Uralic people who are also coming through. Yeah, probably mixed with the natives too. Finno-Urialic people, Volga people. So they would have probably have looked like Volga, probably here. Oh, okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, so I guess they really did kind of had more of a Moldovan Finno-Uric connection. Because you can also see here Macedonia. Yeah, so that okay, that makes sense. It's really interesting though. Kind of see it like that. But yeah. Here you see Pacific Northwest Native. Oh, it's Amerindian, Inca, Basque, Maya. Should I do this one with the Yayoi? And these were the people here. I think were some of the Aztecs who because I know my friend Julie says some of the Aztecs or some of the people from Mexico they're really red, like red, And it makes me think of like the Altoid people. So people like this that are like really red, like red as I don't want to say like red as Mars, but just super kind of red. Uh, Altoid Kazakhs. You see. Hakias, shores. Oh, Maori. Wait, is it? Hold on, I don't. Let me look. Is there a group? Yeah, no, probably more so here. Yeah, that makes sense. And then also shore people. Yeah, see their lineage. Chukchi. Then here we have the. I think this was the Arctic Amerindian ancestry I had. Yeah, but I think you guys are starting to see the picture that really the natives are really a lot more mixed than people think, and I think it's something I've wanted to share for a while because I don't think a lot of people know this. Here I got Sequoia. Here's Maya. And I want to show you guys some of the indigenous people of Peru may have had blonde or red hair. Most, yeah, because there was a sample of like how one of the mummies was buried in Xizang that reminded me a lot of how the mummies in Peru were buried. So you can see here, western, northwestern China, some of the mummies were buried, and then you can see Peru. To me, it's very similar. I think it means to me that there was probably a connection Now to me, now actually this person looks like this, even though yeah, at first you might think she might look somewhat like a Dutch person. She actually had a fair amount of Native American ancestry, or related to Native Americans, and she didn't have blue eyes. She had blonde hair, but this is probably why some of the natives in Peru, why some of the mummies, um, had blonde or red hair because they had a connection with people from this area. And when I look at her, even just the way she braids her hair, kind of think of like some of the how some of the Quechua women braid their hair. Yeah, I feel like there's at least a connection of some kind for sure. Yeah, there's you got a Archipel Algonquins closely related to the Incas. They would have been closest to Apache. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I've been going for a little while now, but hopefully you guys get the picture now. Hopefully you guys can understand kind of what I wanted to share a little bit more. But I'll be off for now.